Picture this. It's late at night and you're scrolling through your feeds when all of a sudden you see it. That one product you've been looking for. You click on the link, add to your cart, maybe even shop around a little more before finally hitting checkout. As you're filling in your address, you realize you don't have your card anywhere. That's when you see it. That purple pay button that has all your info already saved, making checking out as easy as a simple tap of your screen.
See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. Go to shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. That's shopify.com/GoTouchGrass.
You know that feeling when a story just grabs you and won't let go? That's the kind of drama that's waiting for you on Disney Plus Hulu. Mysterious post-apocalyptic thrillers like the acclaimed Hulu original, Paradise. Action-adventure dramas like Daredevil, Born Again. And iconic medical dramas like Grey's Anatomy. Or maybe you want your drama with a side of comic relief with shows like High Potential. Find the drama you want on Disney Plus and Hulu with a bundle subscription. Terms apply.
Picture this. It's late at night and you're scrolling through your feeds when all of a sudden you see it. That one product you've been looking for. You click on the link, add to your cart, maybe even shop around a little more before finally hitting checkout. As you're filling in your address, you realize you don't have your card anywhere. That's when you see it. That purple pay button that has all your info already saved, making checking out as easy as a simple tap of your screen.
See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. Go to shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. That's shopify.com/GoTouchGrass.
You got mail.
Hello, welcome to Go Touch Grass. I'm scared, Alise.
Yes.
We recorded this intro, then I realized I have to give my dog treats.
Yeah.
But we were just saying that we start every deep dive Patreon episode starts with one of us saying, I'm scared.
Yeah. And the other person being like, you should be.
You should
and
be.
That's where we're at today. We're doing a deep dive into the Lindy West discourse. This is a topic that was voted on by our $10 patrons.
Yes.
So our $10 patrons got to decide on this topic. They got to hear this episode before anybody else.
And I don't want to say the Grass Nation's an oligarchy where people with money have more power. But
we're just saying the $10 patrons, their vote counts more.
more. So did you see what one of our patrons wrote in the comments?
Maybe I did, but
the patron wrote, I heard all these podcasts. It was Gabriel Haywood. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out. We love you, Gabriel. We love you, Gabriel. We love everybody who comments.
Yeah.
Listen, commenting, we fuck with that.
Yeah.
If you leave a negative one, we'll see that too.
Yeah.
I'll cry about it, but I won't comment back. We'll see it. Just know we're aware. But if you leave good comments, even better.
Yeah, and you will hear that. I will reply to.
And
I'll
reply to good comments. But listen, Gabriel was like, I've heard multiple podcasts about this, and I've heard all these opinions, but I want to hear the correct opinion.
Yeah,
and that's us.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's our angle. And
we're going to solve it today. We're going to solve it today.
Everything will be whatever.
We're going to get to the bottom of
monogamy, interracial relationships,
we're going to get polyamory, millennial feminism in general, and where the seminal works of millennial feminism exist in culture today.
Yeah.
All of these things.
And we're going to solve it.
By the end of this.
And that's what you paid $10 for.
And that's why you paid $10.
And everyone else who's going to listen to this in a week or 2 weeks, you're missing out.
Yeah, exactly.
You're missing out because we're getting breaking
in a world where you didn't know the answer. We put the answer out on this podcast. So let's start with who is Lindy West. Lindy West is a 44-year-old writer and essayist, I would say, but she's there's a bunch of stuff that also says she's a comedian, but I would say she's more of like a funny writer.
She's a
and
humorous writer.
Yeah, she's a humorist, whatever.
Uses the elements of comedy to storytell.
And I guess she's done some amount of stand-up and whatnot, but like, I would say you have to think of her as like a writer. If you literally don't know who she is at all, she's a writer, mainly. But personality, like she'll do interviews and like talk.
Well, you know what, too? I think like me and you are like, your life goal was like to be a comedian. Me and you are very comedy technical. So to us, somebody like Lindy West, but it's also important to contextualize that like probably in the academic, which there's a lot of people like this in multiple niches and stuff where it's like, she's the funniest writer. She's the funniest essayist. You know, she has like
funny is part of her brand. And being fun. So I get why things say comedian, but she was very prominent in late 2010s feminist discourse. Like, so I looked up her biography, and she started writing at The Stranger, which is this Seattle-based publication that was putting out a lot of progressive, interesting writing at the time. And that was around like 2009. She worked there. And then her book, which we'll get into, comes out in 2016. So she's like very prominent, I would say, from like 2009. She's rising, and then like 2019. And she was a writer for Jezebel and Vulture and a bunch of these other places during a time where like you could have viral articles, you know? Like I feel like now it's a way harder to have a viral, like funny article. But back then, that was way more able to happen online.
I feel like now it's like the front to camera opinion thing
about
a topic. But before, instead of front facing video, it was you had to write it in an essay. And then everyone else would talk about the essay and then give their perspective, which it still happens. It's not as often. And it's like just a smaller part of the internet is like that still. But like monoculture is not like that. Monoculture is like, first of all, is there a monoculture, whatever, but it's just like, I think that these conversations happen via video.
Yeah, I agree. But this was at a time where like viral essays, BuzzFeed lists, etc. Like the internet was like more reading based. So you would go viral for viral essays. I pulled just like, these are some of her most famous, but she's written really, really famous stuff over the years and like gone viral many times. Her big breakout was Hello, I'm Fat for The Stranger in 2011, which was like, I think that's what the pilot episode of Shrill, the TV show.
And it's kind of like a fuck you to Dan Savage or something, because Dan was her editor and he was fatphobic. And
she worked for him. John Cameron Mitchell plays him basically
in
on
Shrill
the show.
And the Hulu show.
And he said a bunch of fatphobic stuff. And so she kind of writes through that in the essay and like talks about her life as a fat woman. And it really resonated with a lot of people. And it kind of establishes her as one of the tentpoles of this very popular millennial feminist style of writing, like a super confessional style.
Lindy would write about her perspective and about a cultural moment, but then also be very raw and vulnerable and
very, very being like super open and honest and also like identity forward. And it was a new thing at the time. It was groundbreaking at the time. It was in vogue at the time. But now I feel like that 10 to 15 year gap is where stuff really starts to feel just like you're not able to have nostalgia for it yet. So it just feels out of date in a way that's hard to place. But at the time, it was this really sharp, incisive, confessional, quippy, funny style that I know I liked at the time. I emulated at the time when I was writing. So anyway, Hello, I'm Fat was like her first big one. She also had a really, really famous, funny takedown of Love Actually for Jezebel. Which I feel like is also a millennial humor online style thing.
It's like snark.
Yeah, exactly. It's a snarky thing. It's like it was takedown humor and stuff. And like I'll say 100% again, I wrote for Betches for many years. I engaged in exactly this tone of stuff.
But it was also like there is something connected to no one has ever tested the limits of the US Constitution like Trump and all this stuff. And like it's like we were more reading based. It was Obama. Like there was a general safety of the institution and structure that allows for people to be more ironic and like cynical and
That's
all
really,
that. But
that's
like,
really an interesting. I've never heard that point before, but that's really interesting.
yeah, and like in the Trump era, everything is under attack. And then everybody's fighting. The rage bait is so popular. Like, that's not what we need now. We need like what is uniting us? Solidarity, positive stories, like all this stuff. And that's why like the snark doesn't work as much.
No.
Like, or it has to be a little bit more pointed.
Different. Snark for snark's sake. It was like a trend online to be like, have you noticed that this Pixar movie doesn't make any sense? Like that was like a huge trope of thing that has kind of, I think, fallen out of fashion now, where it's like, isn't it weird that in Beauty and the Beast, she's actually this? Like, well, you know what I mean? And this Love Actually article was part of that, but it is very funny. It was very popular. It went super duper viral.
And it's also like reframing this rom-com that's like, actually like, which a lot of rom-coms, which now it's going to be whatever, but it's like a lot of these things, when you think about the story a little bit, you're like, this is actually mean to the woman, or like, what the fuck is this?
It's a fatphobic movie too.
Yeah.
Like they are always calling the Hugh Grant's love interest fat, and it's like crazy.
What people have to realize, like that Lindy West did, is like for her saying, "Hi, I'm fat," she opened the way for people to reclaim fatness. I'm like, before you couldn't even describe yourself as fat. Like people would be like, no, you're not. So you have a fat white woman who's like, yeah, I'm fat. Who cares? Or what the fuck is this rom-com that we're supposed to watch every year and be like, this is the pinnacle of romance and love and expression. And it's just this girl being like, how dare Hugh Grant want to fuck a fat girl?
Yeah.
When it's just like, that's not reality.
And she's like also a size 6.
And she's also a size 6, but I'm like, but that all trickles down to like, this is what embarrasses these boys to feel like they can't say that they like someone fat.
Yeah.
Or like, it's all this shit. It just trickles down to everything.
Yes.
And like, but we don't even realize it. And to have a voice that's like calling that out, it was revolutionary at the time.
It was. So, okay, that was a question that I had for you, was like, what was your relationship to her work at the time that it was coming out in general?
I think like, I was a fat person. No, but like, I think, like I've always heard of her. I always heard about how she dealt with trolls. That was a big thing.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to get into, is like, she's been this, because she writes about being a fat woman, basically, because she's very outspoken feminist. She either founded or is just a big part of Shout Your Abortion. So she's very loud feminist as well. And she writes about feminism. She writes about feminism, racism, sexism, all of it. She writes about all of it. And that's a big part of her kind of like being part of this forefront of millennial essayist women who are going to write about all of these things and take on all this stuff. And she's always kind of like fighting back at her trolls. But she's been the victim of really vicious trolling. I remember there was like an NPR story about her. They helped her get in touch with someone who, right after her dad died, made a fake profile as her dad and started DMing her and being like, I'm disappointed in you, as her recently dead dad. Like, that's the level of like crazy. No, and I've gotten
crazy people like that too. She's somebody who like dealt with it, whatever. And like, that is something that we haven't as a society figured out and especially like with the Ozempic of it all. I mean, not to get too whatever, but like, I think we kind of made strides to like, hey, just because someone's fat doesn't, you make all these assumptions about somebody's character and lifestyle and choices and how many friends they have by how big their body is.
Yeah.
And like, anytime people in general see that you're not that, or like whatever, like I know that it inspires other people to see that I do shit, but I also creates a lot of jealousy and a lot of anger because there's a lot of people who bought into the system. So to see Lindy be like, fuck that and whatever, to see that in general is like cool, because I haven't even really put myself out there yet, like where everyone's sick of me. Like, I know I haven't hit that yet.
Yeah.
But even just a little bit of visibility, it's fucking tough and it's scary and it's discouraging and all that. But like, I know I have to push through it, and just to see somebody else like that, And then with Shrill.
Yeah, let me just say really quickly, because I don't think I like officially said.
Yeah.
So her biggest claim to fame comes in 2016 when she releases her book, Shrill Notes from a Loud Woman, which is her memoir. And it's about her life, her identity as a fat woman, coming to terms with all of that, her relationship to the internet and these trolls, and then also her relationship with her partner. We'll put a pin in that for a second. But that book gets turned into the show Shrill, starring Aidy Bryant. So now back to you and your point that you wanted to make about Shrill.
No. Yeah, like we got to keep the story going. But exactly, like I didn't engage so much with Shrill the book, but like Shrill the show, it was just groundbreaking. It's just going to be one of those things that people look back. It really much like captured Port, like I think it's Seattle,
yeah.
but like Pacific Northwest in general, like that vibe, which hasn't like, Portlandia is a good thing, but like Seattle specifically and that progressive thing. And also, it was just cool to see a fat girl who dresses cute and has stuff about being fat, but then also, like, that's how I learned that Plan B doesn't work if you're over 150 pounds. Like,
Yeah, that's
it's crazy.
crazy.
Like, but like, that's culture. Like, that is what culture does. For 80 to get really cute outfits, they had to like custom make it, like,
Yeah.
hand sewn to her body because things like that didn't exist. So I really liked that show. I thought it took it in different directions, and also, yeah, like,
And it was funny. Yeah.
and it highlighted a lot of really cool comedians.
Okay. So why are people talking about her now? So in 2015, Lindy married Aham Efule or Aham J. Oluo. He uses he, they pronouns, but I'm going to use he for
Yeah.
this.
Well, we're talking about a throuple. So
Yeah, we're talking about a
it'll get a
throuple.
little
It's going to get confusing. And also, and I'm just going to say this, he came out as non-binary after getting canceled in this weird way.
Yeah, okay. We put information out there. We're
Yeah.
reporting.
We're reporting on the information. That's all I'm going to say.
After I give a 20-minute speech about like the impact of culture on my body, I'm like, this is an objective journalistic.
So she talks about him in Shrill, and in the book, which I read Shrill back in the day, she frames him as this like really great guy who they have this kind of like back and forth, and then he's really there for her after her father's death, and he like made her feel beautiful, and he chose her, and he helped her overcome all the insecurities, and she like finally got to be chosen and loved as a fat woman, and she did this essay that's like, I had a beautiful wedding and I was fat as hell the whole time. And it's not like the climax of the book is her wedding, but it's like this story of her also finding love with this guy is part of the
brand.
Yeah, it's part of the story of her memoir.
Yeah.
So that's your brand. Yeah, you put it down on paper. What is your story? And in her first memoir, what she puts together is that she finally finds love with this guy who helps heal all of these things that the most of the book is her talking about going through and like whatever. So that's Shrill. Post Shrill, both the book and the show. So 4 years ago, she comes out as polyamorous with Aham and this other woman, Roya Amir Soleimani, she's another Seattle-based writer. I think they like met on a writer's retreat or something. And it comes out via this very weird, uncomfortable video that they do. The channel is called Style Like You. And I'm going to make a personal disclosure now. This is like when you have to say that like you've been victimized by a French man before we talk about French people.
Yeah, but like we're putting out our biases.
That's why I want to say I'm coming into this saying I was recently the victim of an ethically non-monogamous man.
Yeah,
and
we gotta put it out there.
This
is what we gotta talk about. Like people don't get why casual this and that. We're on the fucking ground,
and I just want to say,
and we're letting you know it's the ghetto out here. It's a war zone.
Once we start talking about Aham, if you can tell that there's like a particular venom that I have towards him, it's not just about him. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what? That's important to share. That it's like, this is loaded.
This is loaded.
I'm talking to a group of people through this person.
Exactly. And I think it's an important thing to think about when in terms of like the online response to this, because I think a lot of people have, like me, frustrations with some of the the things that we're about to see.
Yeah.
And they can see some issues they have with men in general in Aham.
Yeah.
And it is triggering to behold him, I would say.
Yeah. So why don't you share what happened, and then
Yes.
okay. I want to say 50
I
things.
I know. So okay. Basically what we find out in this video is it's like this it's framed as like an interview that's supposed to be like pro polyamory, and it's three of them and they're sitting in this room, and Lindy's on one side and Aham's in the middle and Roy is on the other, and he's alternately holding both of their hands, but like mostly he's holding hands with Roya. And Lindy is like crying a lot. She talks about, it really sounds like she's convincing herself that this is a relationship model that she likes. Aham has, hate to say it, recently encountered it myself, sleazy poly guy vibes.
Okay, and you have to expound more, because we have listeners who've been in relationships for 15 years, 10 years.
They don't know what
they don't know
men are doing out here.
They don't know what men are doing out here. They don't know what the dating apps are like. They don't know the realities, and this is why they pay $10.
It's these guys who will basically put out front to you like, I'm ethically non-monogamous or I'm poly. They put this to you as if it is a sexual orientation that they have. Some people argue
they come
that
out of the closet.
Some people have all sorts of things to say about it. What I'm saying is the guy gets into a relationship with you, but he says right up front, I will never not date other women. I'm always going to fuck other women. So if you want to be with me, you have to be cool with that. So because the woman made this like agreement up top, he then uses that initial honesty as a shield to do whatever the fuck he wants and be like, well, I was honest with you up top that I was always going to see other women. And also, it often also involves like the woman will initially be like, okay, well, I have these rules, and he'll accept the rules and break them and all this stuff. Now, obviously, there are people who are in ethically non-monogamous poly relationships that work.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying that he has sleazy poly guy vibes is because like there is a specific brand of guy who uses this relationship framework as a way to do whatever the fuck he wants and treat people however the fuck he wants. So, and maybe I met one of them recently.
So, and again, just to explain, right? There are plenty of people who, again, polyamory works in a frame of like, I know a lot of gay men who it works for them where it's like, I love my partner. We're going to build a home and split finances and whatever. And we'll play with other people together. We'll do it separately, whatever. Some people have that. And some queer, like people of all kinds of things. But what you're speaking to is this brand of guy who's like, is kind of labels himself as a progressive and benefits from patriarchy deeply, and uses therapy speak, millennial speak, woke speak, the polyamory frame to basically disrespect his partners and also not be held to any standard, right? And again, there are people who are married for 10, 15, 20 years and they're like, you know what? I love you so much, but I want to sleep with other people, and they make it work. We're talking about guys who like you've established nothing with. You say what's up, and they're like, well, or you establish a little connection with them, and sometimes they love bomb you, and then they're like, well, we got to accept this. And it's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, like if you want to sleep with other people, I'll sleep with other people. And then every time you sleep with someone else, they start crying and they make you feel bad. Or they're like, okay, you sleep with other people, I sleep with other people. We just got to check in with each other. They won't check in with you. It's like, you sleep with other people, I don't want it to be a friend. Or it just has to be casual, and they keep breaking that.
That's the Lily Allen album. That's like what she details is there. David Harbour asked if like, I want to be able to sleep with other people. I need to open our marriage. And she said, okay, it can only be with sex workers and you can't like have ongoing relationships. And instead he started an affair with a woman he met on a TV show. So it's like, that is what basically what, and we're going to play a clip of this video so people can hear, but that is the sense that people get of this Lindy Aham Roya partnership from this video. because the vibes on the video are weird. So we're going to watch like a 3-minute clip here.
So Lindy and I have always been, in a non-monogamous relationship, but it's not something that either of us really exercised. I had gone through a divorce right before Lindy and I started dating. My previous marriage, there was a lot of jealousy. So I was already on a kick, a non-monogamy kick when we first started seeing each other. But I didn't know how to do it. All of our experience had been in very traditional relationship, formats. It turned into a way more monogamous structure than I think we had planned it to. I was, in a place talking to my therapist. I was really ready to move forward and really ready to explore something that wasn't just a traditional heterosexual monogamous relationship. And when Roya and I met, Roya knew exactly what was going on in my relationship with Lindy.
You can say, we were bad. We were doing bad. I was severely depressed and really overwhelmed by my career. I was just in a really, really bad place, which made me not a good partner. And the sort of concepts of non-monogamy or polyamory or whatever made sense to me. I was like, I understand this, but it takes so much confidence to do, because you can't be codependent at all. You have to fully be your own person and just trust that you are valuable. And I really didn't have that. Aham said something that I have to correct. Traditional monogamous relationships was what both of us were used to. I was not used to that. No man ever wanted to be monogamous with me, or felt jealousy about me, or wanted to cherish me and keep me as a special jewel. I was trash, So I didn't have that. I had shitty fake relationships with people who didn't want to be seen with me.
Yeah, that's the vibes, which is for a lot of it, Lindy's crying and he's holding Roya's hand. It's very the body language of it is very strange. A lot of people, they look at this video and they say, oh, Lindy West has been coerced into this polyamorous relationship, which she has accepted because of all of these insecurities that we know she has, that she's put out to the world, talked about her whole life. This thing that we hoped that she had overcome in Shrill, she's actually fallen victim to accepting this thing that it really doesn't seem like she wants. And the other partner, you gotta say it, is this little tiny skinny woman.
There's a lot going on, and seeing Hassan Piker at a Trump rally.
It is like that, but also Hassan Piker would have to choose. There's something about the Lindy thing that is sadder to me. It feels like she doesn't realize
that she's at a Trump
rally.
That
she got there by accident.
Yeah.
Somehow.
She's
and she doesn't realize she's there.
Yeah. No, that's so real.
And so
this guy's she's in a little cult with this guy.
And that's the fear, kind of. And I think that, again, part of my personal disclosure is to say people are bringing personal experiences to the table as they're engaging with this. And there's, we're talking to one reaction. There's this other reaction that says, this is a relationship model she's allowed to have. Everyone's overreacting.
And it's fucked up for you to even say she was coerced into that. You're taking away the agency of a woman.
Yeah, you're taking away her agency. She's told us what she wants to tell us about this relationship. We need to take her at her word that she wants to be in this relationship. And being poly is valid, and she's poly, and leave her alone, basically. And why are you judging someone else's relationship? To which I'm kind of you can judge someone's relationship if they write a book about it.
Absolutely. And also
it's published to the public. So
yeah, and it's also what is it to be a feminist? It does mean to never criticize or hold women accountable, because that's a lot of the backlash to the thing is well, you're not really trusting her, respecting her if you think that she was coerced into this, or it's not very feminist, or you're whatever. This is the conversation with identity politics. Okay, who cares if Nancy Mace is a woman if all her legislation is shitty?
Yeah, exactly. And it's on the one hand, every new wave of feminism is built on the old one. There are things that were built. Millennial feminism, sometimes, I feel a little twinge when it's we talk shit about whatever, because I'm we had to do all that. We had to write our personal essays, because it actually was radical to say that a young fat woman's thoughts are worth publishing in a paper, that a young woman's thoughts at all are like worth putting out there and are worth money and are worth turning into a TV show and making into this and that. Like, that actually was a valuable thing. And it was valuable for the culture to say, which a lot of millennial art is centered around, is like the personal is political. So yeah, the way you engage with the world, who you talk to, who your friends are, what you read, what you like, all of it is part of it, is all part of your identity. It is all part of your morals and how you walk the walk and talk the talk. But I think we're now moving into this space of like, yeah, the personal is political and it's also personal. And you can't just say, well, polyamory is our relationship model. Can't criticize us. And it's like, well, everyone has experiences with relationships. We can see things that are right before our eyes. You can't just like hide behind an identity in the same way that I think that she and they are used to and expected to be able to with this story.
Starting something new isn't just hard, it's terrifying. So much work goes into this thing that you're not entirely sure will work out, and it can be hard to make that leap of faith. Trust me, I know. When Millie and I started this podcast, we weren't even sure what we were doing. What if no one listens? What if I make a fool of myself? Now I know that we were right in believing in ourselves and launching our podcast despite all the fears and hesitations. It also helps when you have a partner like Shopify on your side.
I thought you
to help.
meant me. Oh, you mean Shopify? Okay.
And Millie as well.
Oh, yes. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you, and easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything, from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond.
It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/gotouchgrass. Go to shopify.com/gotouchgrass. That's shopify.com/gotouchgrass.
So this video comes out. They kind of go through like the whole relationship, which is basically like what we find out is that actually in that conversation that we learn about in Shrill, where she and Aham like decide to be together, he tells her straight up then like, I will have to always be able to date other people. Like, I'm going to be in an open marriage. And she agrees to this then. So then, and there, we see that like chipping away of boundaries too, because she said like no friends and I don't want to know anything about it. And then suddenly he's in a relationship with this woman who's another Seattle-based writer. This is Roya. He had girlfriends before, but like Roya,
He cheated on her with the neighbor, or he cheated on like
he wasn't,
he was breaking the rules that she made.
And then Roya starts to become more serious, and she's technically sanctioned, but Lindy really doesn't want to hear about it. But then basically, like, Roya loses a friend, and so he's like, I had to be there for this, like, really...
Is this in adult braces, or are you getting to adult braces?
This is before adult braces. This comes out in that video. Basically, Roya was like, she had a loss in her personal life, and as a result, like, Aham said he needed to be able to show up for both of them. And like, and it caused like scheduling issues that made them have to talk about Roya. And then Aham has a health emergency while Lindy is on this road trip that her new book, Adult Braces, is about. And Roya has to start taking care of him. So then her and Roya are exchanging texts. And then eventually they all meet. And in the video, it's framed as like that Lindy and Roya start getting flirty with one another. But I don't get the sense that they actually have a romantic relationship between the two of them. I think the two of them pretty much just have a romantic relationship with Aham.
And I heard like the theory that I've heard about like the relationship with Lindy and Roya is that this is like, it's just like every woman needs a wife.
Yeah.
And it's like through this, which I think maybe is kind of what she's speaking, and like maybe that's the thing, but like through this relationship with Aham, like she got someone else to like help maintain the domestic duties and like help do the stuff and change and
Yeah.
do the bills. And
I mean,
like,
she does.
manage.
Apparently, Roya does pay all the bills and stuff. So it is like, and that is what poly people say that they do like about their arrangement. So I guess for the people that are on the side of like, no, she's poly, whatever, that feels maybe kind of real because that is what some of it is for some people.
And yeah, and it's just like, oh, I have someone else who's helping me clean the house, or like, I don't have this thing that I'm just maintaining on myself because, I mean, and a counterpoint is like, some people, when they're looking for a partner or a husband or a wife, like, they're looking for that other person. But the reality is, like, men, it's not even that no man would do that, but it's like, it's rare and you have to look for it and you have
Yeah.
to like, deal with a lot of rejection and put up your own boundaries and say like, oh, this is enough, or communicate it and be like, actually, like, if I'm paying all the bills, you're going to have to actually do this, or you're going to
Yeah.
have to take out the trash. But with women, like, it's kind of inherent. Like, no one's going to do that shit for us, like, whatever. So we're like socialized that way. So I could see that being attractive to her,
Yes.
but not necessarily like, ooh, I want to, which that's a whole other like conversation that it, and this is what it triggers. And this is why it's not a 5-alarm fire, but it's like a 3-alarm or 2-alarm, which is like, there are a lot of couples, where the guy wants to experiment and the guy's not really focusing on his partner's like sexual satisfaction,
Yeah.
but he's saying he's bored or he's a man, so this and that. So the girl experiments and like eats pussy even though she doesn't want to. Like,
Well,
these are the concessions sexually that women have to do all the time.
and I think that is I think Gen Z has this problem too, but I think that is an issue that millennial women faced in particular. And that might be why it's so like tough to watch Lindy face it, is this idea of like, aren't you a cool girl? Don't you want to accept this like open relationship model with me? This is what people do now. You got to just hook up with me. You got to just be a cool girl. You got to accept everything. You have to just be down. You have to be blah, blah, blah. And I think that was like, again, every new wave of feminism builds upon each other, and in every new wave of feminism, men find a way to exploit it to try to extract sex
what
from
they
you.
want you.
And
but it's
so,
not sex, it's emotional labor, it's
Yeah.
all of that. It's
But
a
it's like-
wife without none of the titles or benefits.
but women said, you know what? I do want to be able to hook up like a man, and I do want to be able to have sex and talk about it and be confessional and be messy and all this stuff.
And
men
not
said,
be skinny or not.
and men said, okay, then don't you want to be polyamorous with me? Don't you want to do this? Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to be?
And it's like, oh, you don't want this? Then you're not secure.
Then you're not cool.
You're not
Yeah,
secure.
You're not
Actually,
progressive.
like, why are you jealous? Like, you're jealous because you're not okay with yourself. Or
Yeah, you're not a
insecure.
girl's girl.
You're not a girl's girl. Like, why are you so heteronormative? Or like,
Exactly.
actually, it's colonization. And that's also something that he has mentioned is like,
Yes.
it's actually colonization, or it's like, there is something.
So just to put a point on that, something that he has said, and I guess is mentioned in adult braces, is the idea that to be monogamous with another person is like you are colonizing them. So that is, again, when we're talking about that, some of this represents, I think, an outdated millennial framework of thinking. It is that this thing that people have moved away from, I think, of like using these buzzwords and stuff as like a cudgel to beat back anything. Like, I'm just going to say that monogamy is colonization and now you can't say anything to me. And it's like, no, I'm actually going to ask you what you fucking mean by that, dude.
And again, this is where the kernel of truth, or the interesting observation that people have made about modern American family structures, is that a nuclear family where it's just husband, wife, and children in a household is very isolating and there's problems. So people have talked about in other countries, it's more communal, with the aunt and uncle live around, or it's whatever, but they share resources and they bring things to the table. And, and that's why it's normal for a grown man to send his mom money back home, because it's a different thing and they take care of the children and that whatever. But this is what we're talking about, where it's like somebody with a little bit of therapy has extracted some of those kind of correct criticisms
and
of modern, and being like, actually, if you don't let me fuck other women, you don't believe, like, shut the fuck up. No, fuck you. Actually, you know what? You have a choice. How about that? And this is the conversation Because they all want that. They want access to someone special and beautiful and interesting and powerful, like me, you, Lindy, all this stuff. But then,
Lily Allen.
Lily Allen, but then they want death by a thousand cuts. They want to embarrass you. They want this. They want that. And it's just like, but you can find some, but you got to say no to these guys. You got to know what you want and you have to be confident that you can get it. And Lindy thinks that this is all she can get. And that's what's really, really, really sad.
I think what this is bringing up for a lot of people who are fans of her work is that it is sad to see her seemingly go down this path. But then also, obviously, this causes a lot of discourse. So the stuff that I detailed, all of that stuff was just from that video.
Yeah.
So we've known that. But basically, the reason this is coming up now is because she has a new book, Adult Braces, that is about her going on this road trip and coming to terms with the polyamory in her marriage. So Adult Braces has come out. And obviously, with Adult Braces, number one, it's a Lindy West book. Her book is going to get a ton of press in general. She's also she's going to get a Modern Love in the New York Times.
Yeah.
She's going to get this, that, and the other. Like the press tour is significant for a Lindy West book because she's a very popular author. And then also it's about this spicy topic of polyamory.
She made a lot of good promo videos too about it.
Yeah, and Lindy West is a good front-facing person. She is funny. She is dynamic. And it's she is a charismatic author. So if she's going to go out, and also she has all of these connections in the publishing world. So everyone's going to review her book. Everyone's going to talk to her. Everyone's going to put her on their podcast, etc. And so in the course of this whole thing, this impression that a lot of people get, not only from the book, but from all of these interviews of this coercive polyamory thing really starts to harden. Discourse starts bubbling up, as we said, people on both sides, people being like, this seems like a really bad relationship, and people being like, we have to take her at her word about her relationship, and it's actually fucked up to say that
for weeks.
And so this is going on. But then also, obviously, people start digging to find more information and more stuff about them. And Ashley Ray actually posted this side by side. So do you describe, this is what Aham posted for Roya's birthday.
So it's a beautiful picture at a beach. He's standing closer to the camera. Her neck is on his shoulder. They just look very in love outside. And then
I don't have the whole caption. This is what she posted, but just give a little bit of it.
It says, Aham wrote, Lordy, Lordy, look who's 40. Roya, how I got so lucky, I'll never understand. I knew from the moment I met you that you were special. But to get to know you and to love you and see the depth of your care and intelligence has been. And I read the whole thing. It's 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, and this is and so, okay, that's his birthday post to Roya. What is his birthday post to Lindy?
It is a picture of Aham close to the thing, and he's flicking her off, and she's out of focus behind him. And it says, and he rose, Aham goes, I know yesterday was International Women's Day. This is his post to Lindy. But that was then, and this is now, and this is at Lindy West B-Day. So stop celebrating other women and only celebrate Lindy, the best one. For her birthday, you should give yourself a present and listen to her podcast at Text Me Back Pod, which is the best and funniest podcast in the world. Wrong. And it's Go Touch Grass. It's Go Touch Grass.
Fact check.
And once you do that, you'll actually see she's the best one, and we don't need International Women's Day next year. We should just have 2 Lindy's birthdays.
So it's
it's cute, but it's
the
not
caption,
the same.
That caption is cute when you don't know that he wrote this insanely abusive thing for this other woman who's not his wife. And also the picture is of him flipping her off. So it's people start digging in that. Again, the discourse is getting hot. People are, having all the conversations we're talking about. And then one other thing that a lot of people are talking about is just how did someone who's used to be so sharply incisive,
it's like the Stepford Wives,
and so representative of the zeitgeist, seem to be so out of touch now with how she's coming across. And I think it's almost similar to this Dax and Kristen of it all.
Yeah.
In that she's stuck in the mind frame from when she got famous, and she can't get out.
Well, also, too, which is what the profile in Slate said, they live in a remote place that, first of all, her dad owns. They live in her fucking dad's cabin.
So that's the thing that starts coming out now too, is that they live in, I mean, they have like a home in Seattle, but I think are also in this cabin. I'm kind of confused.
They live in like a very remote cabin. So
yeah,
somebody, and people posit that's like she went away from all her friends that tell her like this is a bad idea. So I just feel like they're in isolation in their little bubble where everything is okay and stuff. And she's not really in touch. And that's how, like, maybe that's how he, like, she thought that this was cool, or like she's not getting that.
Because she seems genuinely
shocked,
surprised in a way that, like, again, she's someone who's endured a huge amount of online hate. So I don't think that she ever thought she would put out a book about polyamory and like not get some backlash. But I think she's genuinely surprised at how many people are not into the relationship. Like how many people who are like her fans are concerned about the relationship. And so you mentioned the Slate article.
Yeah.
So all of this roiling. And writer Sachi Cole publishes a review of adult braces and like basically like an interview, a profile with Lindy, review of adult braces, like, a whole big piece about meeting with Lindy. And it's a fair piece. I don't think that she doesn't go hard on anyone, but she describes their relationship situation and she does bring up questions about how into the situation Lindy is. The article definitely, it doesn't go super far, but I would say it definitely comes down on the side of like, there seems like there's something off about the situation. She then receives via email. First, she receives responses from Lindy and Roya, respectively. So Lindy wrote to her and said, I feel hurt by this piece. It feels subtly designed to generate exactly the kind of backlash against Aham Efule and, by extension, me. It's hard to weather backlash that's about someone else, especially when I tried so hard in my book to convey who we are and the complexities of what really happened. Perhaps I failed. And then Roya wrote, if I'm honest, it just feels like a Slate article, which no one I know actually reads and certainly wouldn't pay to access, even for this. I hope that one day you can apologize sincerely to Lindy. She deserves it. So Lindy, that's Lindy's tone. Now you get, that was Roya's tone. But the craziest part is that Aham writes to the Slate author. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. This was such a shitty thing to do, Sachi. You intentionally skewed the story to fit your own bitter narrative. You wasted my time and all our time to write an article that was going to be the same no matter what we said. You absolutely dehumanized me and intentionally diminished my personhood and career. Pause. In the Sachi profile, because the profile is about adult braces and about Lindy West.
Yeah.
And Roya and Aham were like out doing another project. So she said Roya and Aham are out of town working on another
on a project. Yeah.
So the major gripe is that she didn't mention the project. So that just have that context.
Yeah, that's why he's like so pissed off.
Roya and I were on a quote shared project in Boston, or however you worded it, question mark. I was performing 4 shows at the Paramount ! And Roya is my producer. I'm a person with a life and a great career and a complicated life. And you boiled me down to a quote cheater who was on a school project making a diorama or some shit because you're mad about your life. You barely wrote about the book. You just wrote a rage bait article specifically designed to direct hate towards me. You're a shitty fucking person. You're a bitter, untalented, mean girl. And you should absolutely be ashamed of yourself. You fucking suck.
So basically, he reveals himself to be fucking insane.
And I'm also like, that shit must work. Like, these little tantrums must work at home.
Oh, I forgot about the most important part. I'm so sorry.
What's the most important part?
So he sent that, right?
Yeah.
So they reach back out to him. They say, we reached out to Oluo for comment about this email.
Because they're going to post it on the podcast.
Well, and they posted it to Slate.
Yeah.
They published it. He replied, yeah, my email was a typo. What I meant to say was free Palestine. Thank you for correcting the record. So he sucks.
But it's like using progressive, like, that's the violent and shitty thing about it, is like using progressive language and progressive talking points to be an asshole.
This shows you his exact mentality, which is that he thinks that all of this stuff is a linguistic game that we're playing to one up with everybody. So he's like, oh, I said free Palestine, ha ha ha. Oh, I said I'm ethically non-monogamous. You can't do anything to me. Oh, I said colonization. You can't do anything to me. It's this type of shit. It is this type of shit.
And also, just period, point blank, monogamy or not, whatever or not, you're I don't know. I'm like on one end, I'm like, my husband's not sending a fucking email to an editor. Like, even if he has enough restraint, but then I'm also like, he's not even defending her, he's defending himself.
Yeah, he wasn't like, even Roya was like, you should apologize to Lindy.
Yeah,
like,
but Roya wrote a bunch of shit too.
And
Roya said a bunch of dumb shit. Roya's email was apparently the longest of the three. So like, whatever, she's not exempt. But I think Lindy also wrote, it's kind of like she wrote it in a way to protect him. You know, she didn't tell all this shit.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't honest about all this shit.
Is
that she wrote it. She didn't even see that she was throwing him under the bus. And in one way, I'm like, but at the end of the day, is this a successful book? Did she sell more things?
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time people have been talking for a month about a book? And we're all talking shit. And also, like, she's accepted this guy, and maybe in a subconscious, she's accepted, like, this is how, like, crazy thing I'm like thinking, but I'm like, she accepted this guy's shit, and she whatever, and maybe her subconscious knew it wasn't right, but maybe whatever, she's like, because that's what adult braces is. That's what I've heard, is just like her fighting her instinct of like, I don't want this, but like, I'm not going to be a cool, I don't want to lose him, or like, I'm not going to be a cool girl if I say, actually, I want monogamy and I pay the bills.
Yeah.
And fuck you, or get out of the house. Like, am I going to be a capitalistic, like, and she has all these insecurities that she has to work out. But like, at the end of the day, I'm like, but she made him look so bad. She got the last word. And I'm like, this is some Marvel Cinematic Universe shit where I'm like, maybe she stays with him, maybe she doesn't. But if she doesn't, we got the divorce memoir.
Yeah, I mean,
and the divorce show. We have the show about this that leads to the divorce. We have the divorce memoir, and then we have her finding a love, like a real love. Like, this is a 3-4 book thing.
Lindy, I hope so.
She will fucking do it. Like, I don't know if this is gonna unlock. Like, I'm so curious because it's been weeks and people are digging up more and more and more and more information. I don't know if you have more stuff, but like,
I was gonna ask you because you said something about a Tubi video.
Well,
I was gonna wrap this up after that.
Well, Alise, I have two things that I want to share.
Okay.
Made a docu drama thing, like movie that's an hour and a half long that he wrote about himself. And it's free on Tubi.
Okay.
And it's his own like documentary thing. Ashley Ray has been live tweeting it. So it says made a movie and Lindy produced it, and it's on Tubi, and it's called Thin Skin. And I'm about to live tweet it, and she live tweeted it, and I'll just read like 2 of the live tweets. Watching Thin Skin did make adult braces feel more pointed because she absolutely could have made more sympathetic by pointing out how close he came to death and his autoimmune disease, which wouldn't have excused his behavior, but would have put his selfishness into better perspective. So I guess, whatever. Like,
he had some kind of big health scare.
But he also has 2 kids. I heard she's paying off the child support. Anyway, so, like, he has a movie, and it's crazy, and it's all about how he doesn't want to work a real job, and, like, how manipulative he is. Like, his sister's like, you need to move out of my living room. And he's like, but like, I'm like, me living here is like the most exciting thing that's happening to you. And like, It's actually like, I'm doing you a favor. And like, you know, is this an exaggerated version of him? Like, is it funny? Is it whatever? Like, I'm not going to take this thing at face value, but like what I've read
Yeah.
of it is like insane. And like, it's like, should we live tweet it? Whatever. That exists. But also, this other thing that I wanted to share. This is the Wall Street Journal review. And what people are commenting on is that you have to see, like, this is a 70-year-old or 60-year-old person writing a review of this.
Okay.
And it's just, I think it's so funny.
Okay. I'm excited to hear it.
So it's, okay. Now in her 40s, Miss West has done everything that for the progressive political project told her to. She still refuses to lose weight, rejecting her doctor's offer of GLP-1 medication, despite the suffering caused by her obesity. She stamps on any sign of conservative thinking in herself and others. She's made activism her identity and refuses to engage with people outside of her political subculture. She even avoids spending time with her extended family because they, quote, have unknown politics. It isn't that they disagree with her. It's that they might. Mrs. West's previous memoir included a Pacific Northwest version of a fairy tale ending, with our heroine marrying Ahamfule J. Olo, a musician and artist who nowadays identifies as non-binary. My wedding, and then this is the quote, "My wedding was perfect," ran the headline to Miss West's Guardian column in 2015. Quote, "And I was fat as hell the whole time." In Adult Braces, we learned that the reality of this relationship wasn't perfect. Miss West and Mr. Olu's were at odds from the outset, particularly on his insistence that he be permitted to sleep around or, to use the vocabulary of their subculture, be, quote, a polyamorous person, end quote. Their marriage has been accompanied by a lot of crying, panic attacks, and endless therapy. Miss West is desperate to defend her husband as well as the girlfriend they now share, the creative producer Roya Amir Soleimani. After Miss West acceded to Mr. Olu's demand for non-monogamy, the, quote, throuple now live together in a rural cabin belonging to Miss West's family. She writes,
Ow!
it's getting more crazy. She writes of retreating to the guest bedroom during frequent bouts of depression and being subjected to the sound of her husband and Miss Amar Soleimani having sex in an adjacent room. Miss West reports that she wrote this memoir to provide financial support to, quote, her family, end quote. 3 able-bodied adults in their 40s who seem to spend most of the working week emotionally terrorizing each other.
I mean, damn. Damn.
And sometimes, you know what? And sometimes you need a boomer to tell it to you straight.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
a boomer to tell you.
Sometimes you
You need
say,
a boomer to tell
hey, you're crazy.
Hey.
What you're doing ain't right.
Or as their little subculture likes to say it.
She's a polyamorous person. What I'm saying is they emotionally terrorize each other every day.
Yeah. And it's
And
also,
why can't he get a job? You do need a boomer to just say, why can't he get a job,
why
though?
can't he get a job? Why are
Because
they
a
in
boomer
your
will
house?
ask why you don't have a
Why
job.
are you in the guest room? That's the thing. She's in the guest room. She's paying the rent. Like, that's the shit. The more you find out, it angers you. It makes you sad. You're like, what the fuck, dog? How are you getting played like this? You're supposed to be it. Like, you're our fucking queen.
Yeah.
You're the one who told us. You're the one who told us that fuck men who talk shit to women and send shitty emails. And your husband is out here embarrassing you. And when we're talking about
And
being
talking to women like that
and talking to women and embarrassing you and saying that you fucking suck, my husband's gonna say you fucking suck. An extension of Millie Tamaris' brand, I'll beat the shit out of you. Taylor Frankie Paul. No.
No.
Take it out. No, not Taylor Frankie Paul, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, and it's sad, and you're like, and it's like, oh, you're in 2025 and 2026. The conversation today is having a boyfriend embarrassing? Are we decentering men?
Yeah.
How are we having a baby on our own? What is going on? Like, how can we divest from men? Men are falling behind.
Yeah.
These are the conversations. do I agree with it? Do with this and that? Is that how Millie and Alise live our lives? Like, no, we're doing whatever, but like that is what the culture is talking about.
Yeah.
So for you to be the head of feminism in 2010 and whatever, and now you're coming to 2026 and you're talking about you're losing your dignity, your money, and your resources, and your fucking sanity for your man who's a fucking mid, and you're trying to tell us you like it? You're gonna get roasted. He's gonna get roasted. She's gonna get roasted. Don't be surprised. You're gonna sell books, but like that's the thing is like they're surprised and they're shocked, and I'm like maybe this is the thing that because I'm like because everyone's like where are her friends that are telling her, and it's also like do you suffer from depression or are you depressed because you got a guy who fucking is emotionally terrorizing you?
It is a thing where it's like, I really have been a fan of her work and I do like her and I hope, you know what?
And I'm going to get dark with it in a second, Alise, but hold on.
But I hope either she is right and she's in a relationship that she loves and
and we don't see it.
And I don't see it and I brought my own shit to it
and
because I'm pissed off at so-and-so and whatever and we all brought our own shit to it. Either that or I hope that this wakes her up and she gets out of it because I do like her. I think one of the things that's probably hard about being someone who has a very famous memoir that a show is based on, and something she kind of talks about that's very interesting that like we can't get into here is like how weird it is to have a show based on your life and how strange that is. And like I think celebrities can get really caught up with what their brand is and what they're supposed to be. And when you literally have put your story, your memoir down on paper and said like, this is the beginning, middle, end of my story, it's really hard to like go back and be like, okay, maybe he's not actually that guy. Maybe this is not what I thought that it was. Because you're committing yourself.
A lot of times, like these corny cliches that we say when we think are so corny, like it is important to love yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you love yourself, you're like, oh, I love myself enough to not accept something that I don't want because long term it starts chipping away at you and stuff. And the thing is that she's in this place that's so stuck in like 2014 of like, I'm going to be loud and honest and whatever, but I'm not going to reflect or pour back in. And in 2026, we're on some different shit about independence and different conversations. And we've like moved in a different way. So to see her stuck there, and that was like our pinnacle. And not just that, but like her partner is like embarrassing her and all that. It's just tough.
It's kind of a weird version of what he's doing with the ethical non-monogamy stuff where it's like this idea that the act of honesty in and of itself like absolves you of everything. And it's like, I'm being honest and open and I'm telling you. So, and it's like, no, actually culturally we've moved past just the like confessional and now we need a little bit more of the reflection. And what does it mean about me that this is the case? And like, what is actually being said here?
I'm not even saying that I would never even be polyamorous. Like, if I'm married to somebody for 10, for 20 years or like, who knows? The world is going to be whatever. And I hold myself open to that. And I hold myself open that maybe Lindy's like, actually, I did like it. You guys are all full of shit. I hold myself there. But again, that's not what's being written. That's not what we're seeing. That's not how she's talking about it. It's all in a thing of like, here's what I'm accepting and not like what am I getting out of this?
Yeah.
So like that's what's sad. And this is the
and all we've seen from him is writing this insane,
this nasty stuff, and flicking her off. That her saying that when she was at the highest point of her career, he wasn't there for her. So like that's all we're saying. So it's also that friend who just says sad shit about their man and then gets mad at you when you're like, I think you should break up.
Yeah, I think it's got to be over.
Yeah,
I think that this isn't a good model, but
they got to figure it out.
They got to figure it out on their own.
And maybe they stay together forever. Who knows?
Couldn't
be me.
No, it couldn't be me. And I really learned.
It couldn't be me. And you know what? But it's good for you to know.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have to write a book on it.
No, and I didn't move into a house in the woods with anybody.
In your parents' house. Your parents' Key West house.
I'm not out any money.
You would move your husband that you bankroll and his side bitch into your parents' Key West house.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Not for me.
not for
I can only
Millie
say what's for me.
Tamaris. Yeah, exactly.
And what's for me is not that.
No.
It could be for someone else. I don't think it's for Lindy West.
I don't think it's for Lindy West either. I will say and again, okay, if Lindy West is bisexual, she found the woman. We're not talking about whatever, but I'm saying I don't think it's for Lindy West. And I don't know how many people would be cool in a situation like this, frankly speaking. This doesn't sound like an ideal situation for many people. If we're take Lindy West out of it. I feel like she's been a sport, actually. I feel like she's been really sport. Not to quote Afro Man, but she's really been a sport about it. She's really done like the kind of, this is the best case scenario, but this is the thing of
That's the best case scenario for him possible. And it's
kind of.
Well, anyway, we solved it.
We solved
it. We solved it.
I feel like we really did.
I feel like we really
hit
did.
it all.
We went deep.
And if we had a blind spot, I don't know, guys. I'm sorry.
All right, leave us a comment, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see it.
Yeah.
We'll see it. We won't not see it. All right, until next time.
Go touch grass. Go Touch Grass is created and hosted by Alise Morales and Millie Tamaris.
And our theme song is by Doug Wydick.
You know that feeling when a story just grabs you and won't let go? That's the kind of drama that's waiting for you on Disney Plus Hulu. Mysterious post-apocalyptic thrillers like the acclaimed Hulu original, Paradise. Action-adventure dramas like Daredevil, Born Again. And iconic medical dramas like Grey's Anatomy. Or maybe you want your drama with a side of comic relief with shows like High Potential. Find the drama you want on Disney Plus and Hulu with a bundle subscription. Terms apply.
Picture this. It's late at night and you're scrolling through your feeds when all of a sudden you see it. That one product you've been looking for. You click on the link, add to your cart, maybe even shop around a little more before finally hitting checkout. As you're filling in your address, you realize you don't have your card anywhere. That's when you see it. That purple pay button that has all your info already saved, making checking out as easy as a simple tap of your screen.
See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. Go to shopify.com/GoTouchGrass. That's shopify.com/GoTouchGrass.